A security guard was shot outside Drake's mansion. He almost died. And the reason it happened has nothing to do with a random attack. It happened 3 days after the world was told Drake is a predator. And Drake knew it was coming. That is not speculation. That is in the court documents filed by Drake's own lawyers, who argued that his record label's decision to promote one song created a direct threat to his life. Think about what that means. Drake's own legal team went to court and said this song caused someone to come to our client's home with a weapon. Why would a song do that unless people believed it was true? That is the question nobody is asking out loud. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why. Drake is worth over $250 million. He has more #1 hits than almost any artist alive. He has a mansion in Toronto so massive it has its own basketball court, a lagoon-style swimming pool, and a custom recording studio. He has a clothing line, a whiskey brand, a record label, and enough connections in the industry to make or break careers with a single phone call. For over a decade, Drake wasn't just a rapper, he was a machine, untouchable. And then 2024 happened. Kendrick Lamar dropped a song called Not Like Us. It called Drake a pedophile. It said he was hiding girls at his mansion. It said his whole neighborhood should be on watch. It was brutal, specific, and it hit different because Kendrick wasn't some random person making internet accusations. He was one of the most respected rappers alive, and he put his name and his career behind every single word. The song went to #1. Then it won Song of the Year at the Grammys. Then Kendrick performed it at the Super Bowl halftime show in front of over 100 million people and stared directly into the camera and said, "Drake, I hear you like them young." The crowd erupted. Celebrities sang along. The whole country watched. And Drake went silent.
Now here is where most people think the story ends. Beef happened, Kendrick won, Drake lost, move on. But the story doesn't end there, because the allegations didn't start with Kendrick. They just became impossible to ignore because of him. Let's go back. Drake's friendship with Millie Bobby Brown is one of the strangest and most uncomfortable things hiding in plain sight in Hollywood. Millie Bobby Brown is the actress from Stranger Things. She became famous as a child, and Drake, a grown man, began texting her when she was 13 years old. Drake himself admitted this. He said they would talk regularly. He said he would give her advice about boys. He said he was like a mentor to her. When the public reacted with alarm, Millie Bobby Brown defended him. She said he was helpful and kind. She said people were being weird about a completely normal friendship. But think about what you're actually hearing. A global superstar, a grown adult man, regularly texting a 13-year-old girl, privately, advising her on her love life. Why her? Of all the people in the world Drake could call, why a child actress? Nobody asked that question loud enough, and Drake moved on, untouched. Then came Astrid Roos. Then came multiple women on social media describing the same pattern, being contacted by Drake's team when they were very young, being invited to events, being flown places, and then being cut off with no explanation the moment something made them uncomfortable. And then came Gracie Bon. Gracie Bon is a Panamanian model with over 11 million followers on Instagram. In November 2025, she appeared on a live streaming show and started talking about Drake. She said she had been in a private relationship with him. She said he flew her to Colombia on a private jet. She said he introduced her to his family, including his son and his mother. She said it felt like a dream. And then she said she went to one of his parties. Her face changed when she described it. She went quiet. She said she walked in and saw things she was not prepared to see. When someone asked if he was with another woman, she said, and these were her exact words, they weren't women or what you would refer to as a woman, and they weren't trans either. She blocked Drake that same night and has refused to speak to him since. She later clarified nothing illegal happened. She said nothing criminal took place, but she made it clear that what she witnessed at that party was disturbing enough to end everything immediately and permanently. Drake's response when confronted with this, he jumped into a streamer's live chat and typed 2 words, "Big Cap." That was it. No statement, no lawyer letter, no detailed denial, 2 words in a Twitch chat. This is a man who just spent a year suing his own record label for defamation, a man who has an entire legal team, a man who fights back hard when he feels wronged. And his response to a woman describing his private party as something that shook her to her core was 2 words in a chat box.
Now let's talk about the lawsuit, because this tells you everything about Drake's character that you need to know. After Kendrick released Not Like Us, Drake didn't address the allegations directly. He didn't sit down and explain himself. He didn't release a response that confronted the actual accusations. Instead, he sued his own record label. He sued Universal Music Group for hundreds of millions of dollars, claiming they defamed him by releasing Kendrick's song and promoting it. Think about that. Drake's argument was not that the allegations were false, and here is the proof. His argument was that his record label should have stopped the song from coming out in the first place. And here is what the court decided. The lawsuit was dismissed. The judge ruled that the statements in the song were not defamatory because they were non-actionable opinion, meaning the court found that the lyrics read as opinion, not verifiable fact, which is a legal standard for defamation. Drake is appealing, but for now, he lost. The man tried to use legal power to silence a song rather than address what the song was saying, and he failed. But it gets worse, because while Drake was busy suing people, a completely separate scandal was building underneath the surface. In late 2025, a class action lawsuit was filed against Spotify. It named Drake specifically, not as a defendant, but as the primary example of a problem so enormous it may have stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from other artists. The allegation is that Drake's 37 billion streams on Spotify, the streams that made him one of the most played artists in history, were significantly fake. The lawsuit claimed that a sprawling network of bot accounts artificially inflated his numbers over years. It claimed that at one point, 250,000 streams of a single Drake song appeared to originate in Turkey, but were rerouted through VPNs to fake UK locations to hide where they were really coming from. 250,000 streams from Turkey, disguised as British listeners, in just 4 days. And that was just one song. If these allegations are proven true, it means the entire foundation of Drake's dominance on streaming, the numbers that made labels bow to him, that made radio stations play him constantly, that made him appear culturally unstoppable, was partly manufactured. It means the king was wearing a borrowed crown. And then there's the gambling lawsuit, because why not? Drake and internet personality Aiden Ross were sued for allegedly misleading viewers during gambling live streams. The claim is that Drake presented bets funded by the online casino Stake as if they were his own personal money, that he was essentially faking being a high roller on camera to encourage his audience to gamble. His audience, which includes teenagers, which includes kids who grew up watching him. A man who is already facing questions about his relationship with young people, allegedly running what amounted to fake gambling content designed to influence impressionable viewers.
Let's zoom out, because individually you can dismiss some of these things. The Millie Bobby Brown friendship, maybe it was innocent. The Gracie Bon allegations, she said nothing illegal happened. The streaming lawsuit, Drake isn't even a defendant. The gambling issue, maybe it was sloppy, not malicious. But that is not how patterns work. When you zoom out and look at all of it together, the underage texting, the party allegations, the women describing the same playbook, the security guard shot outside his house after a song called him a predator, the court dismissing his attempt to silence that song, the fake streams, the gambling deception. What you see is not a series of coincidences. What you see is a man who built an empire on carefully controlled information,
who decided who told what story, who paid for access and cut off people who saw too much, who used power the way powerful people always use it, quietly, privately, and with enough money around him that most people never had the courage to say anything out loud. Kendrick didn't destroy Drake. He just said loudly what a lot of people already knew quietly. And now, piece by piece, the walls are coming down. The question nobody has answered yet is simple. What happened at that party? Gracie Bon walked in. She saw something. She said it wasn't illegal, she said it wasn't what people assumed, but she blocked a man she had feelings for in real time, on the spot, and she has never gone back. Whatever it was enough. And Drake still hasn't explained it. If you think this story is far from over, you're right. His appeal is still active. The gambling lawsuit is still moving. The streaming case is still building. And there are people who have been quiet for years who are watching all of this unfold and deciding whether now is finally the time to speak. We will be watching. If you want to be here when the next piece of this drops, subscribe, hit the bell, and tell me in the comments, do you think the full truth about Drake has come out yet? Or is this just the beginning?